toughness, things like that they are looking for from their teams here this afternoon. Ron Groover, Ted Valentine, John Gaffney are the officials, and Carlik Jones and the Cardinals with the first possession of the game.
Duke in the 3-2 zone. They pulled that zone out against Pittsburgh. It limits penetration. It limits getting into the lane. It protects Matthew Hurt from foul trouble.
A look at the starting lineup, including Jones, the Radford transfer at the point, having a terrific year. First shot is missed. And down with a rebound, Jalen Johnson, coming off an incredible game in spite of the loss at Pitt. He did not start that game, did start the second half, but he's back in the starting lineup today. This is just the second game this year where this group has started for the Duke Blue Devils.
Jalen Johnson grabbing that defensive rebound. He can rip and go and handle the ball, just not a very good pass to try to get it down court. And that's where Louisville needs to get the ball into the paint, where they can make something happen, give themselves an opportunity to get fouled, get to the free throw line.
David Johnson will be going to the free throw line for the Cardinals, coached by Chris Mack in his third year as the head man at Louisville after a very successful run at Xavier. And you and I, Jay, both watched his post-game press conference after the last game against Florida State. They were down 40-16 in that game. It was a dreadful start for the Cardinals, and he, and I'm paraphrasing here, said, this has got to stop. This has got to change.
Yeah, it was blank needs to get corrected. And he used words like manhandled, soft, intimidated, bullied. And I think he came into the press conference and said, we got punked. So that's got to change.
And Mike Krzyzewski wasn't much happier, to be honest, after the Pittsburgh win, although Duke did show a lot of fight in the second half, made a game with it, took a 15-point deficit down to 2, but it wound up losing to Jeff Capel's Panthers by 6. Pittsburgh off to a good start. They're 4-1 in league play right now. Matthew Hurt into Jalen Johnson, spins, hits, and a chance for 3.
Well, that's why Jalen Johnson's in the starting lineup. He's a dynamic player that is very difficult to guard because you can move him all over the floor. There he is in the post. He's got Jalen Withers, the freshman, on him, and is able to draw that foul just with a little turnaround jumper in the lane. And Quinn Slazinski has drawn the assignment of Matthew Hurt. And so those are two difficult defensive assignments for both Withers and Slazinski.
Overall, Duke is 5-4 on the season. Louisville is 9-3. Duke, more than Louisville's dealt with some COVID pauses and cancellations. That's why they've only played 9 games so far. Duke in the zone as they were the entire night against Pittsburgh. Louisville is not a great outside shooting team. We'll see, if they're able to knock down some threes against this Blue Devil zone.
Well, even if they can't knock down threes, they can get into the middle of that zone. You don't want to be all on the perimeter of it. You want to get into gaps, make 2 play you, and then play off of that.
Dre Davis, a freshman from Indianapolis, now with a rebound for the Cardinals. He has started all 13 games this year for Louisville, but the guy who really makes them go is the guy Jay talked about at the beginning, Carlik Jones. Off on the wing, and Quinn Slazinski making his 4th start of the season. He's in there today for Samuel Williamson at the outset, and as you can see, he's a real energy guy. He's a talker out there, and he just knocked down a 3.
Well, he makes their defense better because he communicates so well. He was 7 of 28 from 3 before that shot, but he is a good shooter.
How easy did Jalen Johnson make that look?
Well, you want to take away straight line drives, but it can't get much straighter to the left hand than that. And Louisville doesn't want to just throw the ball around the perimeter. They want to penetrate this zone. And the space in between defenders is called a gap. So you want to get into those gaps, make 2 play 1, and then play off that. But Jalen Withers just gave up the middle and didn't want to foul. And you've got to do a better job of that. That's a very difficult matchup for Withers to have to go head-to-head with Jalen Johnson.
David Johnson in the backcourt along with Carlik Jones, and that is the strength of their team. Those 2 guys, the senior in Jones, the sophomore in Johnson, one with a bucket, the other with the assist.
And that's just too much time to give. You got to recover when the ball's in the air. And
it'll be a turnover. Nobody touched it. It'll be Louisville ball. Mike Krzyzewski in his 46th year as a head coach, 41st year with Duke. So he says, you know what, I'm not pushing any panic buttons. His players are not pushing any panic buttons, but an extremely young team, 6 freshmen, and the loss of Johnson for 3 games in the better part of a fourth with a foot injury. So he's just back in the last week or so, and they're trying to figure out who they are with him, kind of making November adjustments, Jay, in January.
Yeah, it's been difficult on Duke, but Dre Davis, the freshman from Indianapolis, knocks down a 3. And already a team that has not shot the ball well from the perimeters knocked down 3 threes in this game.
A miss on this end by Jalen Johnson as he tries a 3. Louisville shoots just 32% from three-point range on the season. Slazinski had a good look and a great offensive rebound by Johnson, who's a big, strong guard, and he gets fouled.
Well, this is an excellent guard rebounding team. David Johnson averages close to 6 rebounds a game, as does Carlik Jones. And you add in Sam Williamson off the bench, he averages over 6 rebounds a game. So they're long-armed, they're athletic, and they go after the ball. And it's really difficult, Dan, to get blockouts in this zone because Duke hadn't been playing it all that long. And for perimeter guys, it's tough when you're on the perimeter to turn and get a box out when you've got that much space for a run-up. Louisville's got to get into the gaps of this zone. It's not just that you have to pass into the middle, you got to penetrate it. Good pass. Good idea anyway. It's thrown out of bounds, but good idea.
Slazinski was cutting off his fingertips out of bounds. A 5-point lead for Louisville at the first media.
Whether we're young, inexperienced, intimidated, I don't know, but it needs to get corrected. For our guys, it does not say on their jersey, Louisville freshman. You know, Louisville sophomore that didn't play a year ago. Louisville redshirt freshman. You know, Louisville grad transfer. It just says Louisville. And, you know, right now there are a lot of guys that played in this program that did a heck of a lot more to earn those banners that you see in the Yum Center.
So there's the general feeling of both coaches. Each program coming off back-to-back losses. So Duke 3-2 in the league, Louisville 4-2 in the league. So the start very important for both coaches. Louisville got off to a better start, but a Matthew Hurt bucket has Duke back within 3.
Yeah, Louisville's got to do a good job on the defensive glass. You can't give up second opportunities when your first shot defense has been good. And then Dre Davis just giving the ball away on the other end, trying to get the ball to the logo around the free throw line, but he's trying to thread a needle between 2 Duke defenders. Just got to make better decisions with a pass fake and move the ball.
In Duke's last 2 losses, one to Virginia Tech, one to Pitt, they have led for a total of 34 seconds of the 80 minutes, to Mike Krzyzewski's point of them falling behind. It hasn't been any better for Louisville. And Matthew Hurt misses the shot, and we get a foul away from the ball going against Duke. And it's Henry Coleman.
That was a good job defensively by Quinn Slazinski to stay in front of Matthew Hurt. And Hurt is the leading scorer for Duke. Did not have his best game against Pittsburgh. Had 13 points and 6 rebounds, but didn't score much in the first half. Didn't do much at all. Second half, he came to life.
Davis baseline drive and the finish. Nicely done.
He got that right through. It looked like Wendell Moore came over from the weak side, had a chance to block that. Really good concentration by Davis.
Davis, who averages 8.5 per game, scoreless on Monday against Florida State, but off to a good early start with 5 points already today. And the 3 for Joey Baker.
He needed to get off the schneid a little bit. Joey Baker only had 2 threes on the season coming into this game, and Duke's trying to get him more shots, look for him more, and he's got to be more aggressive, hunting shots. Everybody knows that, he's been scouted. Everybody knows he can shoot it, so they're trying to make him put it on the deck. That means he's got to work that much harder just to get open.
He shot 39% from three-point range as a sophomore a year ago.
He's such a good shooter, but just with a little step back and Johnson not paying as much attention as he should, you've got to be there on the catch whenever Joey Baker catches the ball.
Joey Baker wanted to be Joey Buckets here in Louisville today, Jay.
Well, he needs to be, for Duke to be the kind of team that they want to be before the season's over. He's got to be a threat to stretch a defense so that his teammates can play off that.
Keep an eye on the guy with the ball, 21 in white, Charles Minlend, a transfer from the University of San Francisco. Until today, had played a total of 1 minute this season, coming back from a knee injury that was taking a little bit longer to progress than they had hoped. But here he is in the game, and a guy who, if he is healthy, Jay, he could be a real factor for them in the second half of the season.
Well, he's got experience and he can score.
Samuel Williamson in off the bench as well, puts up an air ball from the baseline. As you look at Midland, second team all-conference and over 14 points per game a year ago.
Not the best shot by Samuel Williamson on the other end. Drove it into traffic and took a really difficult baseline jumper. That's as good as a turnover for Louisville.
Baker again. A little bit strong battle for the rebound, and we're going to have an over-the-back foul going against the Blue Devils, trying to get the rebound.
How about Carlik Jones there? What is he, 6'1", and grabs almost 6 rebounds a game because he goes after the ball and rebounds on every possession. If you want to grab rebounds, you have to go to the glass. And he does that. Watch how he blocks out here. He goes and gets contact with Roach and then turns around. Excuse me, that was DJ Stewart. He gets and turns around and then goes after the ball. I mean, you don't see a lot of elite guards boxing out.
And as you can see, a Wooden mid-season 25 candidate. And the lead now grows to 4 for the Cardinals. On the bucket by David Johnson. It's a pretty good combo in the backcourt. Carlik Jones, David Johnson.
Yeah, with all the accolades that Carlik Jones has received, maybe the greatest honor is he's going to be on 94 feet today.
Sooner than you think. Don't go anywhere. How about the drive there by DJ Stewart with a burst of speed?
DJ Stewart is multi-dimensional as a scorer. He can catch and shoot. Obviously, he can go off the dribble, but what set it up was that shot fake. He attacked the closeout first with a shot fake, didn't go too fast, but was able to get Minlend off balance a little bit and then drove hard to the basket and finished the play. That was really well done by DJ Stewart.
Big part of a very highly thought of recruiting class, a McDonald's All-American from Chicago. And one of the things he liked about Duke was the Chicago connection he had both with his head coach and Mike Krzyzewski, and associate head coach John Shire is also a Chicago guy. Three-point play by Stewart, and back down to a one-point game. Jones bounce pass in traffic. J.J. Traynor follows up his miss and got knocked off the ball by Matthew Hurt.
Yeah, those are the plays you have to finish inside. He almost had a second opportunity. Good shot fake.
The pass fake, and then eventually a charge. Timeout on the floor, as Jay mentioned. A big honor coming.
Electronic remote cars.
Who's your funniest teammate?
David Johnson.
Now, why is he funny?
It's just nonstop goofiness. He has no off button, and he's definitely a prankster.
What's his best prank?
So far, it's turning up your thermostat while you sleep.
What's the most points you've ever scored in a game?
57.
57. Yes. 57 against Duke. 94 feet.
Look at the Wendy's Wooden watch. Carlik Jones on the midseason Wooden 25. Matthew Hurt of Duke is also on that list. You mentioned, Jay, the numbers he put up last year at Radford, better than 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. And to have similar numbers in the ACC as he had in the Big South is really quite a statement about the kind of year that he's having.
Well, and he's a player, man. He could play anywhere, and I think he's got a good opportunity to play in the NBA. David Johnson had to switch off onto Matthew Hurt. Looked like he took one in the throat, but also picked up the foul, trying to keep Hurt from getting that low post position right under the basket. You know, this Louisville team plays a pack line defense, similar to what Arizona does, what Virginia does, and they do a good job with positioning of their help. But they certainly have to guard the ball. And Duke with another turnover.
And Jalen Johnson again. That'll be the 4th turnover committed already today by Johnson, who in a spectacular game against Pitt on Tuesday didn't have any turnovers. He's got 4 in the first 9 minutes of action today.
And Jalen Withers back in the ball game after a really tough start for Louisville. And Withers is an outstanding prospect. He shoots over 60% from the field, but he's the best athlete on this Louisville team with a number of really good athletes. Good cut by Samuel Williamson to get the ball and really kept his eye on the hoop, even though he's going away from it when he shot that.
Williamson, a former McDonald's All-American, coming off the bench today. Quinn Slazinski getting the start in his spot. You know what you and Jalen Withers have in common? Yeah. Other than extraordinary
tremendous athleticism.
Yes, that goes without saying.
Charlotte.
Yes, you are both charlatonians or charlatans, or what are you?
Charlatan. Charlatan applies to me,
yeah.
But it's charlatan.
Charlatan. Okay. I would have gone a while before I had zoned in on that one. I was hoping for a charlatier. I think charlatier is the coolest sounding option. But
I think you have to have a sword for that and a cape.
Nearing the midway point of the first half here between Duke and Louisville, each of them having lost the last two, tied at 16.
He's out of bounds. He's standing out of bounds.
Yeah, Withers was out of bounds before he tried to make that play, so it'll be Duke ball.
Williamson took a really difficult shot. Talk about a tough two, because Wendell Moore was right with him, and you can see the left foot of Withers just on the baseline before he threw it off of Matthew Hurt. But Dan, one thing you notice from Duke so far is they haven't shot a lot of free throws in this game. And that's something that the Blue Devils, I think, really have to work on. The last three games coming into this one, Duke has shot 44 free throws. Their opponents have shot 77. And usually Duke has a free throw advantage on the season. This year, a free throw disadvantage. They've been outshot and outscored from the free throw line.
So do you think that comes from getting more opportunities, say, in the post for Hurt, who here steps out and knocks down the three, or is that guys like Roach and Stewart driving into the paint?
It's more the latter. You know, they don't have a team that's got a low post player like Vernon Carey last year that's going to get fouled just by throwing it into the post. I think they've got to do a much better job of shot faking, putting it on the deck, and maybe one hard dribble, then passing again, and then attacking a closeout. But they do not get to the free throw line that commensurate with their ability level and with their level of athleticism.
Malik Jones at the line for Louisville.
Why stay inside the lines when you could add some flavor to everything around you? A little cheesy here, crunch of color there. Discover the possibilities of just $1. Taco Bell's $1 loaded nacho taco. It's value beyond belief.
Both of these teams looking for a quality win today. Louisville's got wins so far this year over Seton Hall, Providence, Kentucky, but as mentioned, they've lost their last two, both in league play. Duke is really looking for its first real quality win of the year. Their three wins in the league, Jay, are over BC, Wake, and Notre Dame, who happen to be the bottom three teams right now in the standings in the ACC.
I think coming into this game, Duke's the combined record of Duke's opponents in their wins was like 19 and 37.
Dre Davis gets the bucket, and Matthew Hurt's called for the foul.
A nice job by Davis to use that pivot foot. His left foot was his pivot foot, was able to just step through and get beyond Hurt. A little step through move, and got that right arm, maybe a little bit of a chicken wing to get some space, but able to finish the play as well.
Well, and now an interesting moment. That foul on Hurt is his second, as Davis, who's off to a great start today, goes to the line for the Cardinals. But Hurt, at least for the moment, will stay in the game with two fouls.
Well, Mike Krzyzewski probably betting on the fact that Hurt's got experience, but also they're playing in that zone, and he can protect himself a little bit more in his zone. He's targeted man-to-man where opponents will go after him, put him into ball screen situations, and that's the good part of the zone for Duke, is they don't have to guard as many ball screens.
Fans of these two programs may well remember their last two games. Oh. What a pass by Davis, and Withers with a finish.
Boy, that doesn't look like two freshmen that are afraid of anything. What a pass by Dre Davis.
Boy, did the freshman from Indianapolis come to play today. Davis already has 8 points, and he's got by far the most impressive and enjoyable assist of the game. The answer at the other end by Hurt with a three from the corner.
And Slazinski was all over him on that shot. Got to walk there.
Well, time now for an early look, but how could it not be, at the State Farm assist of the game. Look at that from Dre Davis.
Not really an early call. Who's going to have a better assist than that? What a beautiful pass and great awareness in the middle, essentially the middle of the court, middle of the zone, to know exactly where Withers would be. That's just a beautiful pass by Dre Davis, who, you know, he is a good passer, but that's next level stuff, especially for a freshman in a big game.
How about some next level producing by our guy Jeff Dufine? He usually likes to hold that assist of the game for late in the game, but he adapted and adjusted like all good coaches do. Tonight it's UFC 257 from Fight Island in Abu Dhabi. The Notorious taking on Dustin Poirier in the main event at 10 o'clock Eastern Time on a pay-per-view. To order the main card, go to ESPNplus.com/PPV. The prelims start at 8 o'clock on ESPN.
Carlik Jones doing a good job of getting in the lane off of penetration.
Well, it looked like he went right at Matthew Hurd, trying to pick up Hurd's third foul. Hurd out there playing with 2.
Well, that was a tough shot to be able to complete. Just couldn't find anybody to dump it off to. The horn set right now for Duke. Good job fronting the post by Withers.
Jeremy Roach with the ball. McDonald's All-American freshman point guard for the Blue Devils. Off to Joey Baker. Made an early 3, has missed his last 2. And David Johnson, like his buddy Carlik Jones, a very good rebounding guard.
Yeah, his rebounds are going to be important because Withers wound up being behind Coleman inside. That could have been an easy offensive rebound for Duke if not for Johnson going to the glass so hard.
We should mention Louisville continues to play without Malik Williams, their senior big man, out with a foot injury. Had surgery, still at least several weeks away. They think they're going to get him back, but it's going to be a while. And he's really the defensive anchor. Does some scoring here and there, but there he is there. He can really help them out, both as a defender and as a communicator with the defensive end.
Yeah, it's good of a ball screen defender among big guys, as you're going to see not only in the ACC, but nationally. And so when he gets back for Louisville, that's going to totally change this team.
Wendell Moore with the ball. Dre Davis guarding him. Moore asked for the ball screen. Good hedge there by Withers to slow him down. And Moore had to throw up a prayer with the shot clock running out.
What a poor defensive or offensive possession for Duke. Never got into anything and wound up waiting so long just to get that ball screen. And you have to go sooner than that. And that's a rookie mistake by a second-year player, Wendell Moore.
And Duke's already turned it over 7 times in less than 14 minutes of action today. Moore has really been up and down. Had a 25-point game against BC a couple of weeks ago in a 1-point win. They needed all of it. Then a couple of very quiet games. Bounced back with 15 at Pitt on Tuesday. And Johnson from the corner for 3 as the Cardinals extend the lead.
We had 19 points, 7 assists last year against Duke in that win in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Boy, nice job by Withers to get a little hedge off that screen up top in that horn set. Horn set is basically 2 players up at the top of the key, 2 players in the corners, and the point guard chooses which side to come off of, and they can run a lot of different things out of that set. It's like a 2-3 set among players.
Hurt steps in, looking for the foul. He got it in the bucket as well.
What a good offensive player. Matthew Hurd is the best shooter on this team, and he's been consistent all year long. But just his use of fakes. And look, he never took his eyes off the rim, but that little fake on the recovery by Slazinski just really got him to over pursue. And then Hurt knew exactly where he was. That's a really smart, just having a fantastic year as a sophomore.
Here at the KFC Yum Center, Dan Schulman and Jay Billis. They are selling tickets here in Louisville. I think they cap out at about 3,000 in a very big building that seats more than 20,000 as Jalen Johnson comes down with a rebound. Johnson back to Jordan Goldwire. Pull-up jumper short.
No, that's not the shot that Duke wanted, and that allows Louisville to get out in transition. And great rim run by Jalen Withers.
And the Charlottean will head to the free throw line as you get a look at the socially distanced crowd And proof again that college basketball brings us all together, doesn't it, Jim?
Yeah, maybe they should be more distanced, those two.
It does seem a little frosty right now between the two of them. 2-point lead for the Cardinals.
And this young man, Jalen Withers, has so much potential. You know, he had 14 points, 9 rebounds against Florida State in a game where his coach, Chris Mack, said he was not ready to play. And the game before that against Miami, I thought he was really good in a game that you know, Chris Mack was not happy with his team in the way they came out against the Hurricanes down in Miami. But he had 18 points, 11 rebounds, a couple of steals in that one. I mean, averaging a double-double when his coach says he wasn't ready to play. That's pretty darn good.
Hey, can I interject with another ACC score in a game going on right now as Johnson draws the foul. Davis was inside the restricted area, so Johnson headed to the free throw line as well.
Yeah, good ball movement when Johnson got the ball off that little slip just a little bit late, and I think it should have been a block anyway. Who knows? But John Gaffney pointing at the line 3 or 4 times just so everybody knew. Yeah, no question. That's a block whether he's on that or not.
Boy, terrific body control in the air there by Johnson. Coming off a 24-point, 15 rebounds, 7 assist game against Pittsburgh. All right, can I give you an out-of-town ACC score?
Of course.
We all know the Seminoles are a force to be reckoned with, and they are playing really well. They are up 66-31 on Clemson.
Clemson was playing so well when they went on pause due to COVID, and since they've been back, part of it's been their opponents. But that's picked up a charge right there. Jalen Withers just putting his head down, trying to get by on the baseline. Didn't look like the baseline was totally cut off. I'm not sure I agree with that. I'm not sure that was a very good call, but Clemson has really been struggling, man. That pause really crushed them.
Withers didn't like the call. It's the second on him. Big call would have been the second on Johnson had it gone the other way. Well, Florida State, Virginia's up at the top right now. They are undefeated in league play, but Leonard Hamilton's team playing better and better.
And their offensive prowess, last 3 games coming into this one, they're averaging like 88 points a game, 56% from the field, 53 from 3. It's ridiculous how good their offense has been.
Baseline turnaround hurt. Boy, is he tough, because at his height, he can get that shot off anytime he wants.
And he can shoot it from anywhere. I mean, those turnaround jumpers, he gives a little shot fake when he catches the ball from 3 and can still knock a standstill in even after a shot fake.
7th lead change already in this game. Duke by 1 at the moment. Nice look into the corner. Tipped away. Goldwire, the conference leader in steals, has another one and a bucket as well.
Boy, Louisville very fortunate there that Carlik Jones didn't pick up a foul. The referee was way behind the play. Otherwise, that reach in from behind could have been a foul.
I gotta get Larry some love.
I thought it was nap time for Seth Greenberg. Surprised he's working.
Samuel Williamson with a turnaround. Can't you guys all get along? Maybe it's good that they're back in Connecticut and you're down here in Louisville.
No, we get along because we give each other a hard time. There's this. You only say that stuff to your best friends. You're polite to people you don't care for.
You're very polite to me.
Exactly.
1-point lead, Blue Devils. 3 minutes to go in the first half.
Tough shot.
Two years ago, Duke with an enormous comeback in a game here with the young center as Dre Davis goes into double figures now with 11. Duke was down 23, led by Zion Williamson, Cam Reddish, and Jordan Goldwire with a couple of late steals. The Blue Devils roared back to win it. And then last year at Cameron, David Johnson took over the game in the second half in Durham as Louisville won on the road. Nice pass. And another one. Moore open in the corner. Short on the 3.
And Louisville doing a good job of scrambling and helping and recovering. And I'll tell you, their shooting in this game has been excellent. They've done a really good job of catching with their feet set. They're not rushing after that last time out. They came out swinging.
And Virginia undefeated up at the top of the ACC standings. And boy, every night of the Big 12, you got something good coming. And it'll be the Red Raiders and the Mountaineers in the second game of the big Monday doubleheader.
Not sure who in the ACC is having a better all-around season than Quincy Guerrier. He scratches in every category on a stat sheet.
Johnson leaning in. Rejected by J.J. Traynor. Hurt for three. Boy, that's got to hurt if you're Louisville. You get a block, but you can't come up with a loose ball, and they knock down a three.
Well, Traynor did a nice job of not leaving the floor until Jalen Johnson did inside to be able to block that shot.
David Johnson from the wing. Offensive rebound. Williamson, and it'll go.
But that's the aggressive Samuel Williamson that Chris Mack wants to see. He needs more out of Williamson and Withers, I believe, in order for this team to be the best it can be.
And the tempo really picking up here out of that last time out. Nice pass. Johnson to Davis. Not there from the corner.
Well, Louisville needs to pick up the tempo in transition to try to beat this zone down the court. One of the ways you beat a zone is by beating it down the court before it gets set up. There's just a little fake. You don't even have to give a shot fake. Just a bad pass after the fake. Boy, the turnovers are killing Duke.
And Jones, I think, got called for a travel before the bounce pass.
Well, Duke's got an opportunity here for a 2-for-1 if they choose to take it. I think the key is get the best shot that you can get. You don't want to put a young team in a position of picking up a needless turnover without getting that shot because you're rushing for a 2-for-1.
And Krzyzewski says last time that the team felt as young as this team does was John Shire's freshman year. That was back in 2006-07.
Good take.
Roach wide open. And Traynor comes up with a loose ball, and now the Cardinals can hold for the final shot of the half.
That's something to watch for in the second half, or really for both teams, but especially for Duke, their use of shot fakes, both inside and on the perimeter. Use of a shot fake, pass fake, and then attack. And you can get something good against the zone, too, with a little pass fake and then go the other way. Oh, you got to catch that. That's a good pass.
Through the legs of Traynor, and now Duke with enough time to try to get a decent look, and Hurt, who had just gone to the bench on defense with a couple of fouls. Matthew Hurt's coming back in on offense.
Louisville just wants to make Duke catch it coming back toward the ball.
Moore got the rim. As the first half comes to a close, Matthew Hurt.
First half, Louisville has to keep getting paint touches. Get the ball into the paint, kick it out, and Duke has to find a way to get to the free throw line. Only 4 free throw attempts in that first half.
Duke with the first possession of the second half. Jeremy Roach, the starting point guard for the Blue Devils, had a very quiet 15 minutes in the first half. They go right into Hurt, posting up on Slazinski, and Hurt's got 17.
Yeah, Slazinski got caught on the high side. Hurt at an angle to the basket, and there was no weak side help position. David Johnson needed to be further in the middle of the lane there to be able to help out.
Jay, do you expect, we saw it against Pitt, we're seeing it again here today, do you think the zone is going to be the primary defense for Duke going forward right now?
I think it may be. And Coach K has done that before where he's gone to zone. It happened a couple years ago maybe, where it went to zone and it gave him a better opportunity to be able to teach man-to-man. I mean, one of the things about a zone is your help is positioned already. And you don't have to guard as many ball screens in zone. You haven't seen Louisville screen the zone as much as I expected. There's a ball screen in the zone that gives you an opportunity to get something good on the weak side, and good passing.
Nice feed from Withers to Davis, and a trip to the free throw line coming up.
I think what you'll see is more screening of the zone by Louisville in the second half. They did it on that possession. You just set a little ball screen, a side ball screen on the top of the zone, and that gets 2 players playing the ball, and then you can kick it out and have an advantage on the weak side when you kick it out.
Davis, the leading scorer in the first half for the Cardinals with 10. David Johnson added 9, a 1-point lead for Louisville. LSU, Kentucky still coming. That's the next game after us tonight. As Davis splits a pair, and it's a 2-point game.
But Davis, another guy that had a really good first half. He had double figures, 10 points in the first half. He did have 4 turnovers in addition to that fantastic pass. Here's that horn set again with Johnson and Hurt up top.
Stewart and Roach, the all-freshmen in backcourt for the Blue Devils. Hurt inside. And was it maybe the official on the other side of the court who called the foul?
It looked like Selzinski got the foul. But when you put Matthew Hurt in any kind of screening action at the top of that, horn set, he can dive down into the post then, and he's difficult to guard, especially for Selzinski.
And that is the 3rd foul on Selzinski. And right now, David Johnson, at least on that trip, a 6'4" guard, was on Hurt as they try to figure out how to slow him down. And Duke has tied the game with a bucket by Stewart.
That shows just how important Matthew Hurt is. He draws so much defensive attention. You're worried about him. It opens up things for other players.
Nice feed into the teeth of the zone. Withers lost it on the way up, and it'll be Duke ball.
Well, Withers lost the ball, but that was a good job by Louisville to get the ball into the paint and have an opportunity for something easy. They just didn't capitalize on it.
Dre Davis to the bench. Charles Minland into the game. He played briefly in the first half, 4 minutes in the first half, the most action that he's gotten this year, number 21 for the Cardinals.
Almost got a quick post there for Wendell Moore.
Hurt for 3. He used the ball screen that time, and Hurt's having a monster game now with 20.
If you don't switch right up into him, he's going to pick you apart as a shooter. He gets it off so quickly, and it's not like he's a high riser on that shot. He gets a lot of elevation. He doesn't need to. He's almost like Larry Bird in that regard, where he doesn't get a lot of elevation on his shot, but boy, can he drill it.
Carly Jones with a floater to make it a 1-point game.
So good with that mid-range.
And again, Louisville, 3rd trip in a row, Jay. They've got David Johnson on Hurt. They're just trying to figure out who might have a chance against him.
Wendell Moore playing aggressively. He got off to such a slow start this year, but the last several games he's played much better. I think you mentioned the 25 he had against BC and had a good offensive game against Pittsburgh. Had 15 points in that one.
David Johnson. That Chris Mack timeout was just to try to put together a different game plan on how to defend him. They keep trying things and nothing's working.
Yeah, they've got David Johnson on him right now. And Hurt intelligently takes Johnson down into the post where he's. Now they're going to give that to the offense or the defense.
Defense, and that's I don't know about you think. I think Hurt completely initiated that contact and made it look like Johnson.
There's no question.
Yeah.
And I don't know why the official stops there like he's a parent. Just go report the foul. It's so ridiculous. If you don't want to hear it from the player, keep walking. Now here's where they're both tangled up. You could have called that on either player, but it looked like it was initiated by the offense.
But Johnson gets the foul call. And an air ball on the 3. Both teams are actually shooting the ball well today. Both teams are over 50% from the field, and Duke 6 of 15 from 3. Louisville 6 of 14 from 3.
Yeah, I think both coaches will say our defense has to get better. Nobody likes to give up 50% from the field. But Duke in ACC play has given up about 48% overall, giving up over 40% from 3.
Duke just 5-4 on the season. Early losses to Michigan State, Illinois, recent conference losses at Virginia Tech and Pitt. And now the lead goes back to Louisville on the bucket by Withers.
And even though he's got 4 turnovers in the game, another great pass by Dre Davis, getting the ball into the middle of that zone. Just a terrific cut. Doesn't charge when Matthew Hurt comes over and gets it to Withers. And Withers, watch his eyes here. Even though he knows he's going to get some contact, he never took his eyes off the rim, even when he hit the deck. Your eyes make layups. It's kind of like when in driving school when they tell you, wherever you look, that's where the car's going to go. You got to keep your eyes on the rim all the time when you're shooting.
And a significant foul, Jay, the 3rd on Jalen Johnson. He has gone to the bench, and freshman Jamin Brakefield out of Jackson, Mississippi, has checked into the game for the Blue Devils. A major loss, at least for the time being, for Duke. Good hands by John Gaffney, the baseline official on the Duke turnover right there. Nolan Smith, the director of basketball operations for the Blue Devils, having a little chat with Johnson.
And Nolan Smith's father, Derek Smith, was one of the truly great players in Louisville history. Wore number 43. He was a baller, not just here in Louisville, but in the NBA as well. And Nolan was a heck of a player as well. ACC Player of the Year.
And he's one of the all-time nice guys. He's not quite LaFonso Ellis nice, but he's in the next group, don't you think?
Nobody's LaFonso Ellis nice.
Like if LaFonso Ellis decides to retire and give up the belt, Nolan's in the conversation.
How about that step back by Carlik Jones? That's a big-time shot. A guy that can get his own shot. Grew up in Cincinnati, went to Chris Mack's camps. He's going to wind up picking up a foul there, but that's a hustle foul that no coach is going to be upset with.
4-point lead Cardinals early in the second half.
This is a hard hat, blue collar, just outstanding player. The lefty does not get the credit he deserves for being an outstanding college player that just helps you win.
LSU, Kentucky coming up next today here on ESPN. That game immediately after ours. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, Louisville, Kentucky, the KFC Yum Center. Despite a huge day so far from Matthew Hurt, it's Louisville with the lead. And terrific defense there by David Johnson down to the post. A shot clock violation.
Well, you got Brakefield. Jamin Brakefield just came into the game, and he's got to shoot that ball right away. You know, he tried to go up, and then all of a sudden he's looking around and searching for open people. Nobody made themselves available, but he's got to take that up right away. When you're 3 feet from the basket, go up and score.
And also when you're 6'7", 6'8", and the guy guarding you is 6'4".
That's important, too. Little box set right now for Louisville. Got to watch for a pin-in screen on the weak side.
Jones keeping the dribble alive. Good hands by Goldwire. Jones gets it back, and a foul on Stewart.
Boy, because of the pressure by Goldwire, Louisville couldn't get into what they wanted on that play. What they were trying to get was an overload on the strong side, and then get a little pin-in screen and along the baseline, just try to get an opening along the baseline. They ran that against both Miami and Florida State, got buckets out of it. But Goldwire wouldn't let him get into it.
Shot clock at 10. Johnson using the screen. Step back three. And the rebound down to Hurt, his sixth.
That was just targeting Hurt to try to get him to switch, and then the step back.
The spin by Brakefield. He'll lay it in.
Beautiful move by Brakefield. He's a lefty. Had Carlik Jones on him and just spun right around the smaller, quicker player.
Again, getting some minutes with Jalen Johnson on the bench with 3 fouls at the moment.
Duke back to man after spending the majority of the game in that 3-2 zone.
Jones the pull-up.
Gotcha. That's his game. And he was able to just waltz into that shot.
And Jay, he's now in double figures in each of the 12 games in which he's played this season.
And going against man-to-man, Louisville's got to get a piece of the paint every time down.
Good call. Travel there on Wendell Moore.
Now watch Jamin Brakefield here with this terrific spin move. This does a good job. Oftentimes referees like to call a walk on that because you got to keep that pivot foot down. That was really well executed. A quick move.
Williamson, who had some nice moments in the first half for Louisville, off to Jones, who averages better than 37 minutes a game for the Cardinals, and you can see why.
I don't know why Brakefield switched off onto Carlik Jones. He didn't need to. And as soon as Jones saw that matchup, he was going to go after it.
Biggest lead of the game right now for Louisville at 6. Again, and I know we've mentioned this a couple of times already today, but two programs really looking for a win. Each has lost 2 in a row as Davis commits another turnover, and Moore will call a timeout in order to retain possession. We'll keep it right here.
They don't shoot it well. They don't handle it well. They don't get to the free throw line and knock down free throws. They have not been able to score, and that puts a tremendous amount of pressure on your defense.
And 1 week from tonight, by the way, we will be in Lexington. It's the SEC Big 12 Challenge next weekend, and we will be there to see Shaka Smart and the Texas Longhorns take on Kentucky.
Duke's trying to get the ball inside to Matthew Hurt because he's being guarded by David Johnson. That's an advantage, at least size-wise, for Matthew Hurt. But that's not the angle at which you want to feed the post. You know, one, if he would have caught it, if Matthew Hurt catches that, it's leading him out of bounds, and the ball wound up going out of bounds anyway. A little flex look right now for Louisville.
Williamson looking for help. Off to Johnson with a shot clock down to 6. Behind the back.
Oh, God. Well defended by Roach. Stewart, excuse me. That was Stewart.
Stewart got a fingertip on it. Saved by Johnson. Stewart has it, flying into the lane, and a chance for 3.
A terrific job by Stewart to attack off that save by Louisville. That's an area where, unless you know you're throwing it to a teammate at your opponent's end of the floor, you don't want to do that. That's just allowing an advantage situation.
What do you see from these 2 freshman guards for the Blue Devils, Stewart and Roach? Both McDonald's All-Americans, and both have had some really good moments this season. Roach comes in having averaged 14 a game over his last 6. Stewart close to that. Roach scoreless today. But in general, where do you think these 2 young guards are at so far?
A ton of talent. They've not shot the ball well in large measure because of the type of shots that they've been taking. They need to have better shot selection. And Roach needs to do a better job of managing the game and being a facilitator and getting shots for others. And Stewart just got to take better shots. But they both compete, and neither one of them are afraid. That's not an issue for those 2 players.
Not an issue for Carlik Jones either. He has kind of taken over this game here in the second half. Still to come, speaking of fresh, now did he travel, Jay? They had tinkered too with the traditional days of the week on which certain rounds will happen.
Yeah, a lot of games piled on top of one another, but that helps get teams out of there quicker. So it's going to be a very different tournament in a lot of different ways.
But if all goes well, still trying to have the traditional 68 teams in the tournament. And one of the interesting things is before a team can go there, all the players, all the staff, and the travel party have to test negative 7 consecutive days, right, before they go to Indiana.
Yeah, and that's going to put some teams in positions where they might have to make decisions on their conference tournament.
Right.
So there are a lot of moving parts to that. 7 times in a row, 7 days in a row is going to be really difficult. Looked like he got an offensive foul on Matthew Hurt there, trying to hold off David Johnson. Has done a great job defending him. He breaks contact, gets around in front.
And Johnson, again, a 6'4" guard, but a very strong 6'4" guard, accepting the challenge of trying to defend the 6'10" Hurt. Number 3 on Matthew Hurt.
Here's a horn set for Louisville.
Jones over Goldwire. A little volleyball and a foul going against Dre Davis of the Cardinals.
Louisville just couldn't get a roll as quick as they wanted out of Jalen Withers. He needs to be able to roll a little bit harder out of that initial set. And that'll open, you roll hard there. It's kind of like a hard cut. The defense tends to go with you. You can drag the defense, and that'll open up some more things there for Carlik Jones.
2 young teams, Duke with 6 freshmen, Louisville with some freshmen, a few sophomores as well. They lost all 5 starters and a key reserve from last year. So 2 very different teams from a year ago. Johnson short.
It's a difficult shot without running any offense.
A transition opportunity, and it goes for Wendell Moore, looking for the foul. Doesn't get it, but makes it a 1-point game.
It's hard to believe those situations can be no calls.
Jones, nobody stops the ball, and eventually they come to him, and he feeds Withers.
Yeah, I think Louisville can continue to get more of that. is try to get the ball up court quickly, beat the defense down court before it gets set.
And again, Johnson guarding Hurt. Nice look to Goldwire.
They're helping off Goldwire, so they don't really mind if he takes that shot. He's not a great shooter from the perimeter.
Good box out there by Johnson on Hurt as well. Dribbles into some traffic and fortunate to find his buddy in Slazinski. Baker called for the reach-in foul.
Last time Louisville brought the ball down in transition, nobody able to get in front of Carlik Jones and stop the ball. It required Matthew Hurt coming over and helping up, and anytime a big guy helps up, you know, you see Stewart didn't rotate down, but you're going to have all kinds of options when you have to help up. You can oftentimes just throw it up to the rim. Kentucky does a great job of that, of just tossing it up to the rim for a quick dunk. But that's just too easy defensively to give up.
And Jay's 7th team foul on the Blue Devils. So with nearly 10 minutes to go, the Cardinals are already at the line. Hurt on the bench. 20 points, but hasn't scored in several minutes. Ever since really just about after a trip or two after David Johnson started guarding him, things became a little bit more difficult for Matthew Hurt.
Yeah, Johnson provides a different look because he's so athletic. He's obviously smaller, but he is able to get up underneath you. He's quick, so he can break contact and get around in front, and he can front Matthew Hurt, and makes it difficult for Duke to throw over the top, especially if there's some ball pressure. You know, you get ball pressure on the passer, it makes that pass that much more difficult.
Hurt on the bench. Jalen Johnson back into the game for Duke. Johnson 7 points, 3 rebounds, 3 fouls today.
Good pressure on the ball by Wendell Moore. Couldn't see that flex action going on the other side of the floor. They were trying to get Carlik Jones on the second screen. Couldn't get him.
He's got to force up a tough shot. And it'll be Blue Devil basketball down by 4.
Good defensive possession for Duke.
Roach baseline, falls down. And got a timeout called.
John Gaffney said, what do you appreciate about being here at Louisville? And he said, basically everything. He says, everything here is better than I've ever had it before. And it's kind of nice to see that.
Louisville by 4 with 9 minutes to go in the second half here at the KFC Yum Center. But a block is called on Jalen Withers. Hey, next Saturday, the ACC network has a quadruple header of action beginning at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Miami taking on Wake Forest at 4 o'clock. Should be a good one. Florida State, another impressive win today. They beat Clemson rather handily. They will take on Georgia Tech. Don't sleep on the Yellow Jackets. They're an interesting team. Virginia and Virginia Tech at 6 o'clock, and then Notre Dame and Pitt at 8 o'clock. And we encourage you, if you have not seen enough or a lot of Pitt this year, to check out Justin Champagnie, the sophomore from Brooklyn, who is leading the conference, as you know, Jay, in both scoring and rebounding.
He's a player, isn't he? Just an excellent rebounder. He was outstanding in that game against Duke. And what a play by Wendell Moore. Not only grabbed that rebound, but the last play looked like he might travel with the ball, and his second jump was excellent.
Boy, Louisville fortunate right there. Hurt had a wide open 3. Now it'll be Goldwire to bury the 3, and the Blue Devils are back on top.
Duke getting second chance opportunities. First it was Moore, and then keeping that ball alive, knocking it back out to Goldwire for the wide open 3.
What an interesting 4 years Goldwire has had. I mean, really was a deep backup as a freshman, played more as a sophomore, but the last couple of years with 2 very distinctly different groups, he's a very important guy on this Duke basketball team.
And just a great individual defender, team defender as well, but you're not going to find many that are better on the ball than he is.
Louisville's gone cold all of a sudden, but they'll get a bucket there. Johnson sticking with it. Withers getting the basket.
Boy, Johnson just battling for that rebound. And how about Withers putting that up quickly so the defense couldn't react? Not a lot of big guys that do that.
And the lead changes hands again.
So I think they can get Hurt here. He's being guarded again by Withers.
Hurt for 3. And Davis comes up with the ball for Louisville.
Carlik Jones being guarded by DJ Stewart.
Goldwire sneaking in there trying to come up with a steal. That left Johnson open on the weak side. Air ball. Withers working hard. Then will be rewarded with a trip to the line.
That's a foul on Hurt. Is that his fourth?
If it's Hurt, it is indeed his fourth.
Unseen.
I'll give Jimmy credit. I'm not sure for what, but I'll give Jimmy credit.
I wonder if he knew that those markers were permanent.
Or that the camera was on. We'll find out. If he does the whole LSU-Kentucky game like that, then we'll know. 3-point lead for the Cardinals. Just over 7 minutes to go here at the Yum Center. By the way, told that Dre Davis of Louisville is battling some leg cramps right now. Had a big first half at the offensive end. Haven't seen him in a while.
David Johnson back on Matthew Hurt.
And a deep one will go down for Stewart to tie the game.
DJ Stewart only shooting 31% from three coming into this game, but that's not an indicator of the type of shooter that he is. Stewart's one of those guys, never gets tired. That's off of Johnson, it looked like. One off of him.
And it will be Duke ball. You can see Davis trying to work through the cramps and get back into the game. Williamson in for Slazinski for Louisville. Stewart, by the way, with 8 of his 11 in the second half, kind of picking up the scoring because it's been a quieter several minutes for Matthew Hurt.
And you give David Johnson a ton of that credit for the job that he's doing on him defensively.
Hurt in the post, Johnson on him. Spins, got a little help. Will go to the line.
But Hurt just able to get that angle, the drop step, and Withers came over from the weak side, had a great opportunity to block or change that shot. It just one dribble, and then Johnson just gave him an angle to the basket, and Matthew Hurt took it.
It's kind of one of these interesting ones. This guy's a 44% three-point shooter, obviously a great shooter. As he makes the first, still to come, LSU and Kentucky. Davion Mintz and the Wildcats have lost 3 in a row. Can they get their fortunes turned around against LSU? Find out next.
Based on Jimmy Dykes' attire, I think people should hope that's a radio call.
Hurt makes them both. I was going to ask you, how odd is it, and how do you explain a guy who's a great shooter from three, 44%, being only, in air quotes, a 62% free throw shooter? It's kind of odd.
Yeah, it is a little bit odd. The free throw line in basketball is the only place that you really have to think. Everything else is more reacting and instinctive. You've got to walk there.
So the last couple of trips have gone much better for the Blue Devils than for Chris Mack's Cardinals. You can see the league records for both of these programs. One at 3-2, one at 4-2. Right now kind of 6th and 7th in league standings pending the outcome of this and other games today.
Got Withers on goal wire, so he can help off. That means goal wire is going to be open.
In and out. Pretty good look.
Whenever you say in and out, I'm thinking about something different.
Yeah, I know. You had an In-N-Out burger last week in Waco, didn't you?
I did, and it was a very good decision.
Yep. Jay and I were in separate cars going back from the arena towards the hotel, and all of a sudden, on the street where the hotel was, his signal didn't come on. He blew right past the driveway. That was me behind you. And I was like, Jay, you're missing. And then I said, oh, I got it. The In-N-Out was 2 blocks down on the left.
Yeah, and you know that because you were right behind me in the drive-thru line.
Carlik Jones with a chance to tie the game. He's got 14 points, 5 assists already.
Boy, isn't it odd to do a Duke game where Duke doesn't shoot free throws? You know, over the years under Mike Krzyzewski, Duke has lived at the free throw line because of the way they play. And this year's team has not put itself in a position to get fouled quite as often. And they're at a deficit from the free throw line, scoring and attempts on the year, which is very unusual.
They've only been to the line 7 times today. Louisville's been 16 times. Another tie, this time at 59.
Carly Jones very fortunate to pick up a foul guarding DJ Stewart.
Wow, tough turnaround for Hurt from the elbow.
Well, maybe to your point, you ought to take turnaround jumpers at the free throw line because he never seems to miss those. What a great shot.
He's got 24, playing with 4 fouls. You could see the talent in glimpses last year. Had a good freshman season, but Hurt's taken his game to an entirely different level his sophomore season.
Duke likes to isolate him on the elbow at times, not just for a drive, but also look at that turnaround jumper. And look, there was a defender right on him, but because he's 6'8", long-armed, he can see right over the top at David Johnson. And Johnson just tried to bother him with a hand in the face, but Matthew Hurt knew exactly where the bucket was as soon as he turned around. Smart move to put Hurt in a ball screen.
Jones over Hurt, not there. Follow will go for Withers.
What a great tip, controlled tip by Jalen Withers right over the top. Hey, that was just beautiful. Looked like it was Roach, but he went right over the top of Roach.
Withers now 13 points, 7 rebounds, another tie as we go inside the final 4 minutes. Stewart, yes he did, lifted that foot.
Louisville putting Matthew Hurt in a ball screen. Carly a bit. And, we saw a turnover for Duke on the last possession. DJ Stewart wound up, getting a walk because he went up to shoot the ball, left the floor. Carly Jones was right on him. That should have been a catch and a shot fake. And he was just going a little bit too fast for a young player.
Jones draws a foul here.
Here's a guy, Carly Jones, that takes his time. Lets plays develop. And allows the defense to make a mistake. He plays with really good change of pace. If you go one speed all the time, you're a lot easier to guard. And he changes his pace, goes from slow to fast really, really well.
2 shots the rest of the way for the Cardinals. Jones a perfect 4 for 4 from the line and 81% on the season.
He gets there more than any other Cardinal. He shoots about 5 free throws a game. Does that count as the announcer jinx?
Absolutely.
For you?
That's.
I still don't believe it.
We'll be showing that at the seminar next year. Don't do what Shulman just did. One of 2 and a 1-point lead.
Duke has to continue to let Matthew Hurt touch the ball. Still being guarded by David Johnson.
14 lead changes and 6 ties in this game. That has been played entirely in a 9-point window. Duke hasn't led by more than 3. Louisville hasn't led by more than 6.
I think Mike Krzyzewski had used Matthew Hurt in some ball screens more often. Great job by Johnson. But Krzyzewski would probably put Hurt in some ball screen situations where he'd be the screener. But he doesn't want him to pick up his 5th foul on a moving screen. So you have to be judicious and careful. But that was a great defensive play by David Johnson to break contact, get around in front, not get stuck behind the bigger Matthew Hurt.
He's really had a terrific all-round game. Jones muscling his way in. Hurt comes down and picks up the rebound for Duke.
Right, Jalen Withers almost able to pick up an offensive rebound there.
And Mike Krzyzewski wants to use a timeout with 2:47 to go.
Now take a look at this post defense.
If Duke can get it, this would be their best win of the season. Their toughest opponent that they would have defeated. Goldwire in and out on the 3, and Williamson down with a rebound.
Really well defended. So the stagger for Wendell Moore came off, and the defense was right there to stop that surge to the basket, and it left Goldwire wide open. But he's the one that Louisville wants to leave wide open. Ball screen slip, then another ball screen. Really good job to ice that ball screen by Jordan Goldwire.
Shot clock a factor. Johnson sees it. And it's going to be a call going against Louisville.
Looks like I got Dre Davis.
And it is his third.
Well, a little push, I guess, but that's sort of rebounding. He's the bigger player. Of course you're going to move the guy off the spot. That's what rebounding is.
So 1-1 for the Blue Devils. DJ Stewart of the line. He's knocked down both free throws that he's had today, and he's the second leading scorer in this game for Duke right now. Hurt has dominated. Stewart is next at 11. Two-time ACC Freshman of the Week so far this season.
He struggled a little bit against Pittsburgh. He's 2 of 7 from three-point range. But he never changes his demeanor, and DJ Stewart, I haven't seen him all year long hang his head. You know, he just competes. He doesn't seem to perspire either.
He's a cool cat. Made them both. Interesting, Goldwire and Baker both in the game right now for Duke. Jalen Johnson is not on the floor. Jeremy Roach has had a very quiet day. The starting point guard, he is not on the floor either right now.
I think Louisville, if they can put Matthew Hurt into a ball screen, that's what they're going to do right here.
Jones with a little Euro step.
Is that the fifth?
If it's Hurt, it's the fifth.
He had his hands on him.
And it is.
Wow. And that's exactly why Chris Mack went to the ball screen, to try to pick off Jordan Goldwire and then be able to go one-on-one against Matthew Hurt. And Hurt has his hands on him. You saw that left hand was just on Carlik Jones and all there. I mean, Chris Mack put him in a position to foul, but Hurt still fouled. You know, you give up a bucket, you can get that back. You cannot get back your fifth foul.
And interestingly, you'll remember Tuesday at Pittsburgh, Jalen Johnson was the guy having the huge night for the Blue Devils that night, and he fouled out with a couple of minutes left in the game in what was, at the time, a very close game.
Yeah, and you know, you have to make much better decisions. That's why going to man-to-man, you know, it's got some difficulties, because you see that Matthew Hurt was targeted by Louisville to go after him whenever Duke was in man-to-man. It's a lot different to be able to target a player in his zone, a lot more difficult.
Louisville by one. Let's send it quickly to Reese Davis.
All right, Dan, just letting you know, LSU and Kentucky starting on ESPNU if you want to watch that. We'll get there as soon as you guys are done.
All right, Reese, thank you. We are going right down to the proverbial wire in this one as Johnson knocks it down on a nice runner, and Duke goes back on top.
Really good controlled drive.
Speaking of which, Carlik Jones.
What a finish. Those drag screens in transition, so difficult for Duke to defend. And Jones finishing with the left hand at 6'1". He is a baller.
He's got 20. Keep in mind, Duke is out of timeouts. And Johnson is called for the offensive foul.
Sounds like that's the fourth foul for Jalen Johnson. I don't know about that one, but you did have players fall down, so I guess that's an automatic in college basketball.
Withers was trying to get there. Looked like he was still sliding to the left. Johnson does pick up his fourth, and at least for the moment, while Duke is on defense, he will sit down.
Well, you're allowed to slide. You can move laterally or obliquely, which, if you've got legal guarding position, in order to maintain it, which means whatever the referee feels like.
Inside the final minute of regulation, Louisville with the ball and a 1-point lead. They swarm Jones. He gets out of it. Still going. Duke ball.
He is untrappable, isn't he, Carlik Jones?
A great look for Joey Baker. A little bit too strong. Williamson with a rebound. And now with the shot clock off, they've got a foul. Moore went in there, knocks down Jones. And if you're Chris Mack, you're really happy that this is the guy who's going to the free throw line.
Yeah, best free throw shooter, best player. And Wendell Moore just going after the ball here. There was a lot of contacts. Obviously, it was a foul, but it's not anything they have to worry about being a flagrant or anything like that.
you know, things are happening fast down there, but would you rather try to, you know, can you think enough to force the ball out of Jones's hands, try to foul somebody else as opposed to putting him on the line?
You'd rather, absolutely. But it looked like Wendell Moore, more so than trying to foul, was just going after the ball. But Duke couldn't have had the ball in a better position for the shot they wanted. They got an excellent three-point shooter in Joey Baker with a wide open three. So he couldn't ask for a better shot.
Matthew Hurt has fouled out. Even if Jones makes the next one, it's a one-possession game. Again, keep in mind, Duke is out of timeouts.
And even though out of timeouts, and you see again the free throw disparity, which Duke behind in attempts and makes, obviously. But Duke doesn't have to have a three. There's still enough time. And you can get the ball. I say get it to the basket. If you can get a quick two, if Louisville converges on the ball, then you can kick it out for an open three.
Chris Mack will use one of his two remaining timeouts.
Going to stay back to contain. Don't want to give up any threes here, and you certainly don't want to foul.
Moore stepping back for a three. Offensive rebound, Johnson. Stewart with a good look for a three. Around and out. Duke's got it again, or at least they did for a moment. And now finally a held ball, and that belongs to the Cardinals.
Well, you just couldn't ask for better opportunities to knock shots down. Now, the first shot by Wendell Moore was really a difficult shot, and it looked like, you know, he was trying to draw a foul there. There was a lot of pressure on that first shot. Here's the second one after the offensive rebound, and that's about as good a look as DJ Stewart's going to get. I mean, it was in and out. And Joey Baker had an open one. DJ Stewart had an open one. Duke's had opportunities, just couldn't knock them down.
They get it into Jones, and he will gladly accept the fact that he is fouled and walk to the other end of the court and try to knock down a couple of free throws to, in effect, put this one away.
Yeah, you make one of these two, and it's game over.
He is 9 for 10 today.
Yeah, the only one he missed was when you jinxed him.
You're not being as polite as you were in the first half. Should I feel better about our relationship
now? Yes. Okay. You've ascended.
Yeah. I'm into the inner circle. He's being mean to me. Jones trying to put it away.
Well, what a player Carlik Jones is, and he's really a great advertisement. You know, I know there's a lot of controversy over transfers, but for a player like Carlik Jones to be able to transfer to a bigger stage and to shine in this sort of spotlight, I think is a great thing. I mean, Radford would probably rather have him back, but I think it's a great thing for Carlik Jones, and he's proven it. He's proven himself that he can play absolutely anywhere.
24 points in this game. The last 9 Louisville points. And Louisville will snap its 2-game losing streak. Duke has now lost 3 in a row.